Hey everyone, today I'm going to share a game-changing technique that will elevate your oil paintings, and that is underpainting. If you've ever felt a little lost at the start of an oil painting or struggled with muddy colours later on, trust me, you need to try this. It simplifies the process, adds depth, and you will be amazed with the results. So what exactly is an underpainting? Simply put, it's a foundational layer of paint that you apply to your canvas before you start building up your final colours and details. Think of it as the skeleton of your painting. It helps you establish values, temperature and even composition right from the initial stage of your painting process. Today we're going to focus on a monochromatic underpainting using a single colour thinned with solvent. This is a fantastic way to understand light and shadow without the full distraction of colour. For this demonstration, I'm going to be using earth tones, burnt sienna and burnt amber, and I will mix it with my preferred solvent, which is Zest-It solvent, because it doesn't have so many odours and the harmful content of most solvents. But you can use your solvent of choice. The earth tones that I have chosen for this underpainting are a classic choice because they create beautiful warm undertones and dry relatively quickly. You could also use other earth tones or even a neutral grey. The key is to choose a colour that you can paint over easily. Now the magic ingredient here is your solvent. We want to thin our paint down significantly. The consistency should be like a thin wash or even slightly watery. This allows the paint to flow easily and creates translucent layers. You can also add a touch of your preferred medium if you like to aid flow and drying time. See how fluid this is? We're not looking for thick opaque colour here. Alright, let's get this onto the canvas. I've already got a basic sketch of my subject here. I sketched this out with charcoal and then sprayed it with fixative. If I'm not able to spray outside, I sometimes sketch with an acrylic pen to keep my basic sketch visible. Now using a fairly large brush, I'm going to start applying the thin burnt sienna. Notice how I'm not worrying about details at this stage. I'm focusing on the overall value structure. Where are the darkest shadows? Where are the highlights? This thin wash allows the white of the canvas to show through in the lighter areas, creating a natural luminosity. I'm using more paint in the areas that will eventually be darker. And when I look back at my image, I will then go on to using the burnt umber in the even darker areas where the water is, and the darker areas of the eyes and the darker shadows. You can even use a clean rag or paper towel to lift paint and create highlights. I've done this on the face and I find that this is especially good for skin tones. You can build up layers gradually. Let the first wash dry to the touch before adding more if you want to deepen the shadows. But as I mentioned earlier, I like to use burnt umber as well as using the burnt sienna. I found this really effective over the years. Don't be afraid to be expressive with your brush strokes at this stage. In this painting here, I've been really expressive to show the direction of the water in this image because there's going to be water in the background. It can add an interesting texture that will peek through your final layers. And there you have it, a simple monochromatic underpainting. It might not look much yet, but this is the foundation of what is going to make the rest of your painting process so much smoother. So why is this process so great? Well, for starters, it establishes your values early on. This makes it so much easier to judge your colours later. You already have a roadmap of lights and darks. It creates unity. The single colour wash can help tie all the elements of your composition together. It prevents muddy colours. By having a solid value structure underneath, you're less likely to overmix your colours in later stages. It adds depth and luminosity. The thin translucent layers of the underpainting can create a beautiful glow in your final piece. It speeds up the painting process by tackling the value structure first. You can focus on colour and detail later. You can see in this example how the warm undertones of the burnt sienna peek through the cooler colours, adding a subtle richness and depth. Now once your underpainting is dry to the touch, which shouldn't take too long, this one took less than 24 hours, you're ready to start layering in your colours, but having this solid foundation will make the whole process feel much more controlled and intuitive. So if you've been looking for a way to simplify your oil painting process and add depth to your work, I highly encourage you to give this easy underpainting technique a try. You might be surprised at how much it improves your paintings. What are your favourite underpainting colours? Let me know in the comments below. If you are new to oil painting and want to find out more, then click to the left for my ultimate guide to oil painting with free workbook. And if you want to find more about layering with oil painting, then click to the right. Thanks so much for watching and happy painting. I'll see you in the next video.